Good morning and welcome again to the morning conversation with Trinity Lutheran Church. And this week we've been looking at the story of Jeremiah, and it's his what we call a call narrative. It's when God says, "Hey, I got something I want you to do." And one of the things God promises Jeremiah and in turn promises us is that there's going to be a time when God will write God's law on our hearts and that we'll know deep inside kind of what God will want for us. And I have a friend today, as they say on Brain Breaks. I have a friend with me today, and it's Joey Piatt. How you doing, Joey?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. And Joey is a student at UPenn, right? And doing all his classes at home, unfortunately, right now. Uh, Joey, how long have you guys been at Trinity? Were you baptized here, or I
I
don't even?
was. Yeah, I was baptized, confirmed, the whole nine yards at Trinity.
Okay. All right. Good. And your younger sister's Julia,
Yep.
and you get your mom and dad are great members here. Um, Joey's been a long standing member of our youth group. We've had a lot of suppers together at Supper with Pastor and Supper Club, and we've had a lot of fun together. And you've got a story, and I don't want to say anymore because I'm afraid I'm going to jump in on your story. So why don't you tell us the story that you have?
Yeah, I guess so. Keeping in line with the theme, for me, you reached out and you said, because I'll provide some background. You said, think of a thing that, either you cling to or a story of a time where you knew God loved you and was caring for you, had a plan. And
Right.
even in like the midst of, a situation that you just couldn't understand, couldn't wrap your head around because, you have everything you want to do is kind of messed up, which I think everybody is living now in some
Oh
form
yeah.
or fashion.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think, because I was right now, I should be at college, having the time of my life.
Mhm.
Instead, I'm in this almost high school life, living at home, doing classes online and everything. So it's been a big, time of reflection, a time of a much needed time of reflection, I guess. Everybody's always so busy moving on the go all the time. And so I've appreciated that somewhat. But when you asked me, the first thing I thought of was, understanding God's schedule and his time and his plan versus the plan and schedule that we have in our heads, and sometimes want to cling to so much that we can't really see what God's trying to say or who God's trying to put in our lives, or what opportunities that he's putting there for us to take. And so the biggest thing I thought right away was all the things in my life, the best things that have ever happened to me were all things that really would not have been something that would have followed along that original plan I would have had for myself. Notably, like 2 years ago, I guess already 2 years ago, and when I was a senior in high school,
Yeah.
it's flown by unbelievably quick. But senior year of high school, I did the musical for the first time. I'd never done any sort of performing or anything like that, and it was unbelievable experience. Phenomenal people, just being creative, getting out of the comfort zone, just really having an exercise and just being you, having fun, and just being able to work on something with so many people that are so impassioned about something and produce something beautiful and amazing. So for me, it was always an experience. If I'm in an interview for something or in a conversation with somebody, I always try and bring it up because it's really shaped me and how, whether it's an interview for a job and I'm going over problem solving skills and comparing it to how the musical taught me how to, come in a new thing and sort of change my way of thinking. Or whether it's, just a conversation with somebody and they ask about my background. And it's always something that I go to, always something that, I hold very true and very like special. It holds a special place in my heart, always will. A great experience. But it's something that, had I stuck to my schedule and had I gotten everything I wanted, had I been able to map out my own future, I would not have had it ever happen, and it wouldn't have ever come to fruition. It wouldn't have been something that I had to talk about. I would have never had it happen. But it was one of those things where, I had the right people in my life at the right time. Michelle's daughter, was the one who was really there to strong arm me into doing it. Was really that without her, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have never gotten myself to do it. So having, the right people in my life, having, the right opportunity come by, and that they needed to fill a certain role, and it just so happened to fit it. So it kind of was all lining up. And that's sort of how, when God works, the best things kind of just come up out of nowhere. And the right people are there, the right opportunities are there, the right circumstances kind of just, align in the way they're supposed to. And I think back and it's like seems so clear, looking back as things always do. But it was one of those things where it helps you appreciate that, without God, understanding God's schedule and understanding that when he works, he's going to make it clear for you if you need a little push. He tries to sometimes, he tries to give you a little poke or a little like, hey, maybe this is what you do. But sometimes you need the push. Sometimes you're just not getting through it, because I think too often all of us are so consumed with our day to day, with work, and especially these times, everybody's got so many stressors, so much tension, that they really don't have time to, look for that small sign. So sometimes we really need that big push from God to do what he wants us and is calling us to do. And I think that, just remembering that things aren't really supposed to be on our schedule, and that that's not necessarily a bad thing. And that's something we should instead, look at as, try and look for the opportunity and the purpose in what we're doing. And even though we might not be able to understand, the miracle he's working on at the time, we will eventually someday. And so just being able to embrace the idea that, God's schedule is going to come through in the end. It's going to, line up, and that, our schedule probably, and our plans that we had probably weren't the best for us anyway. I think it's something that I've really, clung to during this time, especially because, my plans are definitely not going as I planned. And so having that idea and having that belief has really helped me, see this time in a new way, and realize that, 5, 10 years, even maybe a year from now, I'll be able to look back on this time and say, look at all those blessings I had in my time and all those things that happened that turned out to be, a real blessing and a real, thing that really, it looked like a terrible, crappy situation that turned out to be something that changed my life for the better.
Right. Yeah, that's just great. One of the things that I thought about it as you were kind of concluding there was, Michelle, who does our youth ministry, and all the folks who work with our youth, we're always saying, where did you see God this week? Where did you see God? And really what you're talking about is, you know, listening to that little nudge where you are seeing God, and God's kind of saying, you'd really enjoy this. This would be good for your development, or this would be, and I mean, I have to laugh a little bit, because that show that you did, you were fantastic in. But I remember, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember doing the Christmas play with the elves with me?
Oh yes, with Hunter. Yes, I remember the happy, happy, joy, joy elves.
Right.
Very quick.
And this was, folks, this was something we did for the youth group, and the senior high were wonderful, because they basically all volunteered to do this. I written this script, and Joey, you and Hunter, your friend Hunter, were kind of playing very tough, big elves, but you were very sensitive. And I remember, I actually messaged your director, Audra, after that skit, and I said, Joey and Hunter, you want to look at them. Because you were really funny. And we couldn't get Hunter to do it, but you did it. That was the good thing. But yeah, it was obvious that you had some talents in that area that you hadn't tapped yet. But it's that listening, and you're right. Sometimes we don't appreciate what we're going through, or don't get that this is really going to be beneficial for us. But yeah, then we look back, we say, yeah, God was guiding me there. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I just hope that before too long you get to go back, though, and have that college experience and
Yes,
all that.
I think everybody's hoping for returning back at some point. But like everything, we have to take it in stride and
Right.
just be flexible.
Right. Yeah, and it's like we say sometimes, what breaks you makes you. It's made us all stronger too, and there's some blessings in that. We just want to get everybody through and healthy. So, hey, Joey, that was great. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You have a great day, and thank you everybody for listening. Okay. See you later.
Yeah.